I had always thought that Howard Hughes was an interesting, I would say, kind of amusing person, and I did not know him. I never met him, but I feel that I've met everyone else who had. And but the important thing I think to point out is that the movie is not a biopic of Howard Hughes. It's really a movie that is involved with what I would call the comical consequences and sometimes sad consequences of American sexual puritanism in the late 50s and early 60s when I first came to Hollywood. And that's really more the gist of what the movie is about. Acting is is I don't know whether that I want to say most important, but I would say that acting is to some extent writing, and to some extent you could say acting is producing um, and directing. I always feel when I'm working, I'm lucky enough to get really what I would call great actors. I always feel that they're sort of directing me a little bit too. So it's a collaborative experience that you take some as smart as Alden and Lily are. I have no doubt that both of them will be directors. They're not just beautiful; they're smart, and I think more and more you will see young people getting into the business of writing and acting because they can make a movie on their iPhone if they want to do it, and potentially a great movie. At a certain point in his life, I guess in anyone's life, if you can do whatever you want to do, and you have the financial resources and the whatever you want to call it power to do whatever you want to do, that can be trouble. And I think that was the case with him. Uh, uh, I knew so many people who knew him very well. Everyone spoke very highly of Howard Hughes. Matthew Broderick, I would say, is there's no actor that's more fun to work with than Matthew Broderick. He's uh, he's sort of a perfect actor, and he has got a great sense of what's funny, and I just he's a pleasure to be around. He's um, by the way, the same applies to Oliver Platt, who was so hilarious in Bulworth, and he came in and did. So many of these people were willing to come in and do small things. There's not a funnier person going than Steve Coogan. He is he's truly gifted. Marty Sheen is a rare uh, gift to any movie that he's in, as is Ed Harris. These are people who are, stars, and as is Candy Bergen. Candy is I've known Candy since she was I think 17 or 18. She walked into a room and everyone fainted, and she's got a great comedic sense and is a wonderful dramatic actress. Um, Ed Harris was uh, kind enough to come in and work with Amy Madigan, who's his wife, and I haven't talked about Thaisa Farmiga, who is the girlfriend of Frank, who is in Fresno. She's a wonderful actress, I think, with a big future. Well, when you direct yourself, you have to decide. Most of what you get is from your fellow actors. In a sense, you know them and you know whether they are how they're responding to what you're doing. So I don't know how much anybody directs themselves. You can, or you could say in the theater of the of the early part of the 20th century, in the theater, there were no directors. There were actor managers who were directing themselves, but you could say that they were being directed by the audience. It's what you sense from in acting, from the people in the scene that you're with, or you learn to respond to what people are conveying when you're demented enough to be doing this. Well, he's smart. He's got a great sense of humor. He's good looking. He's has a genuine humility, as does Lily. They both have genuine humility, and I think that's an important character element.